So tell us a little bit about your story, because you are not someone who was historically active in politics.
Zero.
You came to this. You came to this because you are a personal friend of the Trumps, with Mr. Trump and with Ivanka Trump.
Yes.
How did that relationship form?
Well, I met Donald in 2005. We had a tournament, our tour championship, our biggest event of the year, top 30 players that play on the Trump golf course in Florida. And not only when you play in that event do you play in the golf course, but all the players stay at his incredible house at Mar-a-Lago. And so that was the first time that I had a chance to play golf with him and to spend time with him and to share some of the things that I talked about in my speech. Was I had told so many individuals like him before, CEOs or politicians that I had the opportunity to play golf with, about my desires to open up a Boys and Girls Club, about the challenges that I was facing being a female athlete and a female trying to get into business. And he was the first person for me that ever stepped up and said, don't tolerate this. Like, you've got to, gave me an approach and gave me a strategy, and then went on to help me open up my Boys and Girls Club. And so, fast forward now to 2000 and, end of 2015, and he's running for President of the United States. So that's how I come into this. And I write a blog and a story for SI and Sports Illustrated for golf. And so I get asked all the time about my relationship with Donald Trump and Celebrity Apprentice and the Boys and Girls Club. And that's been something that I've been very vocal about. And so it was time for me to write a story about the Donald Trump that I know. And fast forwarded, and I got asked to come here.
And we hear these stories from friends and from family talking about how privately Donald Trump is a great character and is a wonderful person, yet we see in polling that his unfavorables are at a historic high among American voters. What is not getting across to, what is he doing, I guess, is he failing to show that side of himself to American voters, and what advice would you give him to convince, he needs to convince American voters that he is this person that you say he is and that his family says he is? What is he doing wrong? How does he change that?
Well, I certainly don't need to give him any advice because he's doing quite well. And I think that he's got a great plan for what he knows what he wants to do. And I think that this is a big success for him. But what I think that the public is just starting to get to see the Donald Trump that I know, and the Donald Trump that individuals have talked about over these last couple of days, and really that the golf community has gotten to see and the women have gotten to see. And I think that now that we've gotten past the really competitive side of the primary, and now that he's the Republican nominee, you're going to get to see more of these stories and more of these individuals that are come up. And I think this has been the start of that. And even just watching his family, getting to hear, we finally got an inside look from a fan standpoint or viewer standpoint of what it's actually like, to see Melania up on stage and to hear from the kids.
But what is he doing differently in public than in private, that you have to have all these people come out and say, you're not seeing the real Donald Trump. The real Donald Trump is completely different from the person that you are seeing. Eventually, if people have to keep saying that, aren't people going to wonder whether, which side is authentic, basically?
Well, I think that's a great question. But if you look at really, really successful individuals, billionaires, really, really successful individuals, they keep a very, very private life. You don't know a lot about them, and they show you what they want to show you. And so now this has been an interesting part where now we're getting to see a lot more of different sides of Donald Trump, and you're getting to hear the good and the bad and things that are allowing people to make their own opinions. And now you're starting to see a lot more positive things come out about him, and this is a great testament to that. And his kids are now, you're starting to get to see his family and getting to see them speak about their father, when we probably 10 years ago, when they were pursuing their own dreams and goals, they weren't out there talking about what their dad was doing or not doing.
But as somebody who knows him well, and when you watch him out there campaigning, are you concerned about his tone and his rhetoric? Because it seems that's the biggest complaint that voters who don't like him, that they have about him. They think he's too harsh. They think his tone and his rhetoric is just too harsh. You know him very well. Are you concerned that's a problem for him?
No, I think he's excited. I mean, he's passionate. I saw the governor for every individual that I've seen this week that spoke is so excited and so full of life. Even the lone survivor, and you've seen the passion that's come from these speeches. And this is a completely different world where you're not softly talking about the things that you love and your favorite things and what you had for breakfast. Like, you're talking about real issues and real concerns. They've been talking about security and things that need to have a stronger presence. And so that's what I see come across.
Fair enough. And everybody's wondering which Donald Trump we will see tomorrow night. Not a lot of details yet about his speech, so a lot of curiosity about that. Natalie Gulbis, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me on
here today. Steve Shigaris, thank you so much.